Hello and welcome back to the 2016 Disruptive Innovation Festival. You're tuning in to the open mic stage. It's the part of the DIF where we invite people from all over the world who are moving away from doing business as usual and rethinking the way that things are done. My name's Joe. I'm the host for this open mic session, but shortly I'll be handing over to Nicolas Boutin, the founder of Witter, a French design agency. Nicolas regularly runs workshops in high schools like the Sustainable Design School, D School, or Sciences Pro Paris, and wrote the book Activate the Circular Economy in 2015. He's joined by Justine Laurent. Justine's got a business background and did a thesis on the circular economy in the construction industry. And she joined Witter 1 year ago and is the Circulab network manager. Well, what is Circulab? It's a circular economy business game that our open mic presenters will be telling you about today. This session has already been broadcast once in French, but we didn't want the English speakers to miss out. So it's being rearranged and rebroadcast in English. Don't forget to ask your questions. We've heard a few different circular economy game sessions at this year's DIF. I think this is the third circular economy game I've heard about, so it's clearly popular. So don't forget to ask your questions about Circulab. There's two main ways to do that. I'll be keeping an eye on the comments box below the Google Hangout player that you're watching this on now. I'll also be looking out on Twitter. So if you have a question you want to ask it via Twitter, use hashtag ThinkDiff. But that's definitely plenty from me. Nicolas and Justine, do you want to tell us a bit about Circulab and explain to our viewers what it is and how it works?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Joe. So I'm Nicholas, and
I'm Justine.
This is Justine. So we're going to start the presentation with the Circulab, but I want to start this conversation with a little story of a strange bird that lives in Australia. So I don't know if anyone is listening from Australia today who has been to Australia, but you can see the strange nest of this bird. Of course, it's made out of twigs, but you can see also different elements like flowers, also some fruits inside the cave. And he actually collects also some mushrooms and moss to make some carving inside the nest. And he does that to attract as many females as he can. But today, there are other elements that happen to his nest. So some plastics, and he likes blue plastics. And he actually, you can see he sort of changed his strategy. Even the nest design changed. And he does that, actually he likes that because the plastic is very durable. So it stays in this environment. And the flowers, they tend to fade. So he actually got less work to do with the plastics. So he turned some constraints, we can say, into opportunities. And you can see the guy, so he's the blue guy and the female is more green. And apparently she likes the new design. So she's getting ready. There is no other pictures of them. Don't worry. But the Witter inspired us to create our design and innovation agency. And basically, we do three things at Witter. So we do some training and support around the circular economy. And we can actually also help the companies design services that are sustainable, circular, and virtuous. Just a couple of words about what is the circular economy to us, because many people tend to talk about the circular economy these days, and we also have a specific vision around the circular economy. So the linear economy, of course, is what you see. It's the economy in which we're in today, making a lot of waste. So around 70% of all the things that we built are not recycled. Of course, we recycle 30%, but it's not enough. And also, we have a huge impact at the beginning of the process, because for let's say a computer, 1 kilo, you need 70% of raw materials. For a computer, it's much more. It's more like almost a ton of materials, energy, and shipping all the machines to extract the material. So it's actually quite heavy. And the vision for the circular economy, it pretty much looked like this. So this is more focusing on the materials aspect of the circular economy, but there is also the energy that is very, very important. And you can see we can do a lot of things before recycling. So reuse, repair, and also remaking. The remaking is actually quite hard for example, electronic products, because they tend to be soldered and you can't really take them apart. So we also have to focus on the ingredients, that we put in the recipe in the first place, so that it is really easy to recycle or to remanufacture later on in the process. Opportunities of the circular economy, of course, economic. So we're going to invent new business models around products, around services, and perhaps something that we haven't thought about yet. And we talk a lot about shared value as well. So you're going to create value for the whole ecosystem around your company, not just for yourself, but for your community, for the city, for the whole community, let's say. Environmental, because you're going to make the very notion of waste disappear. Like, for example, in nature, there is no waste, there are just resources. And we humans, we tend to have something called waste. But it shouldn't really be like that. We should try to see this always as an opportunity. And the social aspects, or the broader aspects, I would say, we're going to make perhaps some completely new jobs, because we're making models. So we're going to make new typology of jobs, not just in the recycling business, but pretty much on the whole value chain. And we're also going to relocate these, not externalize the recycling, for instance. Like in Europe, we ship a lot of plastics in China, and then it comes back to us. So it's not very local, and nature tends to do things more locally, and nature is a model for the circular economy, which is going to be explained in a minute. So we focus on 4 main areas of innovation. Of course, business and technology. This is the most obvious, and everybody tends to focus on those two. But the thing we add, because we are a design agency, we are focusing a lot on the human and the psychology and the ergonomics, and also the marketing behind it. But we really focus on the needs, the deep needs of the humans, to make something desirable in the end. And the last area is nature as a very deep source of. There are a lot of very, very interesting, cool technology in nature. If you look at materials or processes, or even at the ecosystems level, and we can learn a lot from nature also in the business, because nature is a very good manager of resources, we could say. And of course, humans are part of nature. So this is why it's all interlinked. We wrote a book on the circular economy. I can even show you it's a real book with real pages. And it's only in French at the moment, but we sold around 2,000 copies, a bit more. And we're looking for a publisher. So if you know any, please let us know. It's in the process. And perhaps also in Chinese soon. So the Circulab, this is our main offer, I would say, at WITA to help company innovate around the circular economy. And it's quite different methodology from perhaps the methodology that we know, because it helps the participants to really learn differently and very easily also. So we all have knowledge, of course. We went to different schools, we have different backgrounds, so we have some deep expertise sometimes. But even if we've done the same studies, we have different experiences around our personal life, but also our working life. So we have some different insights, and this is also always very good to cross-pollinate in that sense. And we are all creative as well. It's not just for the designers or the architects or the engineers, but also for the finance people. Sometimes we have very, very creative ideas coming from the finance or the marketing. It's also meant, this methodology, to help breaking up the silos, because we convey all these different backgrounds together, and they actually have the opportunity to work together in a very, I would say, fun process. And the last pillar is making this circular economy a reality and integrating sustainability as a key strategic asset, and not just on the side. So you can see this is a picture of ecological disaster in China when they released some dye in the river a couple of years ago. And Justine, do you want to introduce the different offers?
Yes. So for the Circulab, we offer 3 main formats depending on the company needs and objectives. So the first one is more about awareness. The objective is to make the team aware of circular economy opportunities and understand better the business model of the company. So this one is the Circulab discovery and is half a day mainly. The Circulab training, this one is more focused on methodology. I mean, we help people to understand the Circulab methodology and the circular economy principles and processes. So this one is 1 day. At the end, we have the innovation one, so the more comprehensive and complete. The Circulab challenge, and this format is about 3 days and aims to, as you could see, and to help the company really make the idea tangible and true. So mainly.
And today we're actually going to focus on this specific format, the challenge of 3 days. And basically the process looks like this. So the first day, we're going to explore as deeply and as we can the context, depending on a specific issue that is our starting point. So for example, we're going to go and explore the shop or the factory or the logistical center, everything that we need to know collectively so that we have the good starting point and common knowledge. The second day is about playing, generating all the ideas. And the third day is about making it a reality, so building a prototype or minimum viable product. And this is what it looks like for one of our clients. We work for the French Post Office. So we went to see the logistical centers, we interviewed people, then we played the game to generate new ideas around this trolley that you see on the top left. And then we created the blueprint for the product, and you can see the final product on the bottom right. On the case study today, but it's fictitious. It's ready-to-wear company.
And if you have a paper, you can take a pen and play with us.
Yeah, you can use Post-its, or you can also chat and comment and add some new ideas during the process. So it's a, let's say, Zara or H&M, big fast fashion industry, a lot of different collections all the time. And the issue we picked is how to manage these old collections and stocks, because perhaps sometimes it's every 2 weeks that they changed. So we thought it was quite interesting to focus on this. And we're going to have a quick wrap up on the exploring phase. So it's we'll go, for example, in the store and see all the different ranges. We'll see the store design and trying to collect different ideas on what's the process, how do the people work, what does the stock look like. So this is like the main range. and also look at in the back door, backstage, to see how they actually stock all these old collections. You can see now the main framework called the Circulab board that we created. It's the business model canvas, so you can see there are some similarities with this framework, but we sort of adapted it to the circular economy. So a couple of changes are on the resources and for the circular economy, and also the energy. As you can see, it's also a very specific area that we want to focus on. The upcycling at the end, so what happens at the end of life, basically? Is it recycling, or is it even more? Is it upcycling? And the other differences are around the revenues and costs. In the circular economy, you can make revenues stages of the life cycle, not just at the selling. And this is why it's very important. There is a lot of opportunities in the circular economy, because you can actually make money out of your buildings. If you generate energy, you can have side business models, I would say. And of course, also on the top, it's the positive and negative impacts. So on the social, the environmental, and the macroeconomic. So she's going to introduce the different elements from the case study.
Yeah. So once we went in the stores and we did the explore step, we will fill in the circular board in order to understand better the flows and how does it work. So here we understood the company today, mainly his function is to enable the greatest number to WhatsApp as any fast fashion company. Key activities are design, marketing, and distribution, and we don't do any producing. So this main activity has, we can say, negative impact on social aspects. Why? Because we produce in India and China, for example, and so the social and health impacts are pretty negative. In another side, we also use as resources mainly cotton, of a lot of waste generation. About the revenues, we mainly sell product, so it's a classic business model, we could say. And today there isn't any upcycling project. We don't take into account this, like the end of life of the product. So all the old collection, at the moment, we only stock it, and we don't think about what will happen after. We only think about sales, and that's it. So mainly we have here a classic business model, and negative impact, wealth generation, and social negative impacts on producing countries. But obviously, we have also positive impacts. We have job creation, for example, and also enable the many to oneself. So it's quite positive. With this actual business model, how can we solve the issue? What is the issue so now?
So we're going to move on to the next phase. So this was the photograph, let's say, of the existing situation. And now we want to move on to something more virtuous, more circular. So we're going to go into a playing phase to generate new ideas around circular economy with examples. So it's a bit of theory and practice at the same time. And the process looks like this. So you are given a scenario at the beginning to sort of have a clear challenge for your company, like something very, very, very pushy. Then we move on to the brainstorming with the cards, and then we have a summary with a memo. So it's a special tool that helps you to decide, let's say, on the best idea. And then people are pitching their best idea. So it's like 1 or 2 minutes as an elevator pitch.
And about the scenario, it's also help players to to understand better the way how to solve the issue we previously see.
So the scenario is it's like a sheet of paper, and here it's on the PowerPoint. But the scenario we picked was this one. So the rise of energy makes the cost of the items more and more expensive, and there is a new competitor that actually decided to focus on very close production. So let's say 100-kilometer series, and the company produce it very close to the distribution. And the challenge to the team of the company is, how do you face this growing competitor? So after digesting the scenario, and it takes a couple of minutes normally, people are not hours, it could be up to 5 minutes, and they can also ask us some questions. Then we are giving them some cards, and the cards are all made like this. So there is a what if question, and then some examples. So you have the theory and the practice at the same time, and also the pictograms, the icons of the connected to the board. So we're going to pick a card now. You can see the game is here. Huh?
Real
So
one, like the book.
Justin is going to pick one, and this card is, you have it bigger on the screen.
It on the screen.
So what do you have?
What if we also sold second-hand products? And here we have the example of a French company we know. Renault markets spare parts of its cars. These have already been used, but are refurbished in a dedicated plant.
So these are always well-known examples of circular economy on different aspects. Could be business, technology, nature, or the more human aspects. The other one. So we move on to the brainstorming now, and it can take up to 15-20 minutes, depending on how many people around the table. And we came up with, oh, maybe we can actually sell secondhands of our products, so that we can out of these old collections, and people can also bring back their old stuff, so we can maybe make a pop-up shop, during it.
And we could also we manufacture the old collection. For example, all the old collection, you take one trousers and one, I don't know, one accessory, and you will put it together and do a new one. To not have old collection, but a new one.
Perhaps we can even partner with the new competitor, to redesign some of our products with the remanufacturing. I don't know. Then we move on to a second phase, second round of cards. And the card I picked is more about technology, 3D printing, and it's New Balance. So what if the products was customized for each customer? And New Balance are producing special soles that are perfectly adapted to the athletes. So they just produce the soles very much. And what we could actually came up, if we focus on the big questions, what if the product was customized? So we move on to the next brainstorming, and we can imagine maybe online and on-demand manufacturing, so that we produce just the quantity that are needed, and we don't have to deal with the stocks anymore, because people are ordering from us, and not so you don't have to support the cost of the stocks, and also the cost of production. So that could be a very good business also.
And so you don't have all collection. You don't have stock of all collection. You only produce on demand. So you have one unique, we could say, product. Think about customization studio. For example, in the store, you put one studio where the client can come with the old collection article item we gave him, and he comes, and it's linked with the remanufacturing.
Yeah, and we could also imagine, sewing or repairing workshops, or even some contests. People are coming up with the best new design, and it brings back people to the store because it's quite original. It makes like a an event.
And this service could help us differentiate ourselves from the other competitor, because we saw in the scenario the other competitor is winning more and more spare parts. So this service could help us differentiate ourselves.
Any other
ideas?
Brilliant ideas online, maybe? No? Joe, do you have any?
We haven't had any ideas on this piece coming in. We have got some questions coming in. I'm not sure if you want them now. They're partly around the game, just in general. Do you want them?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So one of the questions was, just to clarify, can someone just buy this game or get this game and play it, or how does it work at the moment?
It's a business game, so we just sell workshops to companies, but people can't buy the game as a Monopoly box. You know, it's not like this. It's more a game for professionals, but we offer also some training. So Justin will explain later on that you can actually use the game if you want, if you're a professional, but this will be answered after.
And you have also, the important thing is online, we put at one's disposition the canvas. So we don't offer the cards, but you can download it online and use it.
Yeah, the canvas is open source.
Canvas is open source.
Okay.
So if it's non-commercial, you can use it.
Sure.
Or if you're a teacher, for example, it's totally open.
One question when you were talking about the canvas that sprang to my mind was in what way it was different to because you mentioned that it's slightly different from the normal business model canvas that other people will have used, maybe. In what way is that different, and what does the normal business model canvas miss out?
It's missing out the function, so the real customer's needs, you know, the starting point. I think it's very, very important, and it also connects to design, you know, form and function, and it's also connected to how nature innovates. So it connects to biomimicry. I didn't really explain much about biomimicry, but this game is really inspired from the biomimicry thinking as well. So it's a remix of a lot of things, and also the resource is missing totally in the business model canvas, and the impact. I mean, it's a gameplay. And the business model canvas is more static, and we really believe it's more about interaction and dynamic, because the circular economy, it's all about dynamics and system. So yeah. And
the thing is, like with this canvas, the business model can develop himself. And I think Nicolas said, the classic business model canvas put your business model static, and you can't really change the impact. You can't really change the revenue. So this one is more dynamic.
Yeah, the cost and revenues are really made differently.
Yeah.
We had another question that's maybe more closely related to the point that you're at in this in your presentation. So someone's essentially said, when you mentioned clothes companies, H&M, Zara, and IKEA, how easy or successful has it been for organizations to implement circular ideas into their everyday working habits? I mean, that's a huge question, obviously, and I was thinking about what you've got on screen, that customization studio. That I'm sure I've seen that sort of thing. Some of these changes are maybe happening anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's so we are H&M or Zara, but we are working for IKEA. And actually, the customization studio in store, they are testing it in Scandinavia. You know, these companies are big, so it takes a lot of time to change, because it's about culture, you know, the corporate culture in the end, that you have to change. So this is why we have this different format of just raising awareness at the beginning. This is so a lot to make people aware of this new. And then we can go deeper and deeper into the implementation.
objective is to go further than the customization studio. It's like understanding the customization studio can be part of circular economy and can help the company optimize, do like resources optimization and so on. And usually they do a customization studio, but they will not make the link between circular economy and customization. So the objective is to link and have systemic approach and understand all the flows together.
Yeah, that's a lovely point there, that there might be these trends happening, but maybe businesses aren't joining the dots, aren't getting as much out of them in terms of the circular economy benefits as they could be.
It's in the process, but it's not fully accomplished, I would say.
Great. I'll let you carry on now.
Yeah. So imagine we are finishing with the idea generation, and we had a lot, not just 4, many, because we can have many players and quite a few terms. So now you want to summarize. You want to make your, you want to pitch one thing, not just 10, but something that it will be clear. So you have to come up with one big idea. So we have the memo to do that, to help choose and decide the best. And then people are pitching the best ideas. So 1-2 minutes per table. And then in the third day, it can be a different day, and they don't have to be following these days. They can be in different weeks. But in the third day, we're going to actually build something with the team. So they're going to actually take these ideas as their baby, because they're actually building it with us. And that's very, very important, to have something tangible very, very quickly, so that the team, take full possession, like full responsibility for that project. And that's a project we've done for the French post office. So it was an upcycling of a trolley that they have, and we turn it into a bin. So that's the 3D modeling. And then you can see the pilot project, which is not a 3D modeling, but a real picture of the final pilot project in their office.
And just obviously, the third step as to see also with all the action plan how we will organize it in the company. There is the prototype, but the physical prototype. But there is also all how are we going to do, which people are we going to put on this project,
the
and
whole
so on.
Innovation process. Also, it has to be prototyped and timed. So we have special tools for that as well. And you want to present the bigger picture.
I will answer to your question, Joe. We created a network in order to put in order to permit other professionals to use the Circulab approach. So this and so the Circulab network was born 1 year ago, so it's a baby, and at the moment it's implemented in Central Europe, America, in the United States, Canada, and also in Argentina. And recently, like 3 weeks ago, we arrived in China with one independent consultant in Hong Kong. So with this network, other people can use the tools. And for example, we facilitated workshops in Taiwan, also in Barcelona, because in Barcelona we have 5 partners, members of the network, and also in Oslo. And there we work, for example, with with IKEA, and who else?
Institutions,
local organizations, And so the network, how does it work? It's today initial training in order to understand better how the tools work. And also we want people to collaborate together. And we want, because it's a multidisciplinary, pluridisciplinary network, so we want shared expertise and knowledge. Help us and to help them do it, we recently implement and use as a workplace by Facebook, which is a new professional social network. And it really helps us in sharing expertise and knowledge.
And this is some of the clients we work for so far. So we've done a lot of work with L'Oréal actually, and we recently started to work with IKEA, both in Barcelona and also in Scandinavia. And you can see the other companies, so some big French company and also companies. If you want to go, deeper, especially for the French people, but we made another DIF conference last week, and actually you can have the subtitles also on YouTube. So they're going to be a bit messy because it's auto-translate, but it's like an hour, more than an hour conference, and we have some very nice guest speakers with Interface, the carpet floor company, and also a French company that is doing cartridges, B2B cartridges, and they are also very innovative in terms of 3D printing. So they're trying to close the loop with their key business, which is printing. It's very, very innovative. And if you want to see me more, you can also see my recent TED. It's only in French, but again, you can add the subtitles, and I will try to add proper English subtitles soon because it's quite messy, but still interesting. And you can hear the sounds of the wika, for example, because it's a real crazy bird, so you can hear that. And if you have questions, of course, this is the end of our presentation, so we are very welcome to answer.
Thank you, Nicolas and Justine, for that rundown of Circulab game. I can hear myself a little bit, but I think that's got it. No, thank you. We have had some more questions come in, which I'll put to you now. I just wish we'd had 3 days to play the whole game itself, because it looks like a great way to come up with new ideas and start. I really like that point about getting some ownership around some circular economy ideas and brainstorming like that. A couple more questions that came in. I mean, one that I guess maybe you get quite frequently, and one that I think a lot of people are trying to answer. So what do you see as the biggest challenge or barrier you or organizations you work with come across when trying to shift to some of these new activities? So it's nice when they come up with some of these new ideas that the game results in, but what are the barriers from there? You mentioned mindsets earlier, but what else is there?
Yeah, I think people are still very much into the mindset of the linear economy because this is what they've learned at school. This is, the society is framed like this. So shift that we have to make all together. This takes time. So we are a young company. It's just 4 years old, and we made a lot of things, but we are very impatient as well. So sometimes we are a bit frustrated because it doesn't go as fast as we would like the world to go. But I think we have to stay humble and also realize that people have to make personally in their mind, and that obviously takes time. That could take generations to fully embrace the true vision of a circular economy, and that actually fits into the nature. That would take a lot of time. That would take decades.
Well, let me ask you then, you are a young organization. Did you found WITA on the basis of demand for circular economy thinking, or predicting demand for that, or just based on a set of principles that you hold, and what you were seeing in the world?
So I co-founded Vita with Brieux, and I think we both share values, and also we were quite hungry with what we saw, and we wanted to change that, and we didn't see anything changing, so we decided to actually try to do it on our own. And then we learned a lot, and we discovered a lot of theories, and we make up our minds also into all these discoveries. And at some point we needed to actually put this into a book because it was just too much, and it was too much to explain the new clients all the time. So the book was really necessary for our own brains, and also to win some time with these new people. Yeah, and I think that education is also very important. So we are focusing on companies because we have to be sustainable, financially speaking, as a company, as a young company. That's challenging. But we also have to realize that we're not going to do it on our own. So this is why we created this network with new expertise, bigger experience, because most of them are much older than us, and also learning from the younger generation, because it's them that are going to see this new world, and we have to help them understand it, and also learn from our forefathers, the pioneers of the circular economy in the 70s. But linking all this so that we are so that we can have a 22nd century.
Thanks. That's a lovely answer. And we've a couple more questions. I just want to put another call out to the audience. If you do have any more questions for Nicolas and Justine, then do send them in. We've got a few minutes left to ask them. Another question here. Let me just see this one. All good games are made better and or adapted for certain audiences, according to this viewer. Is there scope or plans for changes to be made to your game if the industry demands it, or maybe even an addition to the game to help it look into more complex areas of circular economy? And that's an interesting point, that last one. Maybe this is good for a company just making their first steps towards circular economy, but how do they go much deeper?
Yeah, sure. Actually, the game was created like this in mind. So it's an open framework. You can imagine a canvas, but with not fully square. So like a cell that breathes. And the different boxes actually are meant to have workshops within the workshop. So we can focus, for example, on the client and the context quite deeply. If we, like example for IKEA, this is really key. Or if you imagine for L'Oréal, it's all about marketing. So you really want to focus on those areas. And the game that you can see also on the website is the partners. So the box that deals with the partners, and it's actually the whole stakeholders. So there is a special game for this already, and we plan to add new elements, pretty much on all the boxes, and perhaps also on the outside. So we are thinking also with financial aspects, like go deeper into that, because that's for us, for our clients. They always ask, is it good return on investment? Should I do it now? Should I wait? Should I test it? So we have to prove. We have to help proving that. Sometimes they need some help to do the math. So yeah, we are focusing on new tools development.
Do you still find that the companies that are using the game or are more broadly pursuing circular economy understand that maybe their customers won't understand it straight away, or they perceive it as a bit of a risk, it's a bit of a pioneering move? Or is that still the case, that they're thinking this might not work straight away, but we need to stay ahead, so let's try something?
I think it was the same with the sustainability, I would say. So they are always hesitating, like, oh, is it just for the image, or should I really do it because it's good business? And actually, the circular economy is really good because, well, first, the expression in itself, there is economy in it, so it raises awareness right from the start. At least they have to know it. They have to know what it is about, and then they ask some, oh, how can I do it? How can I test it? And the game is perfect for that, because that's the next step. And that helps make the business case for the idea. So yeah, I would say it's still fresh, it's still new for some of them, but I think we have the right tools to help them.
That's great. Thank you. We've had another question in, which I think you've covered already. It was about how much the game costs. Well, we know that it's a professional game. It's for businesses, so it's not quite the sort of thing you might go down if you're thinking of getting it down at the shops to play with your family around a Christmas day. Not with wrong sort of game, unfortunately. But you mentioned a book, Nicolas.
Yeah.
Is that available? That's available to purchase. Is it just in French at the moment?
Yeah, it's just in French, but it's fully translated in English. So we're looking for publisher at the moment, and so we are challenging publishers at the moment. Let's say it like this. And we're also thinking of running a new crowdfunding campaign, because the first book was actually published like this. We ran a crowdfunding, and then we actually found our publisher, because they knew that we had already some readers and buyers. So a couple of hundreds, and that was also a good marketing strategy for us to find a French publisher. So I think we're going to do that soon, or if we find a smart publisher, we will do it just with him. But I think it could be nice for him also to do both.
And your contact details have been on the screen for a few minutes there. But what's the best way for people to keep up to date with any news around that book, or the crowdfunding campaign, or the game itself?
I think you can go to Circulab or Wita, and you can connect on this, or you can follow it on Twitter, on Facebook. I mean, if you want to follow, it's quite easy.
Great.
Just send me an email.
I'll be happy
to connect. Really.
Great. Your door's open.
Maybe
that's good to hear.
We'll have Skype as well. So we like people face to face. It's always nice.
Speak with the computer.
Nice. Well, that's all the questions we've had in from the audience. So I guess it remains for me to say a big thank you to you for talking us through Circulab. As I mentioned, there have been at least three that I know of, circular economy games mentioned at the DIF this year. So if you're interested in circular economy games, there was a live show called Gaming the Circular Economy. If people online head to the catch-up section of the website and search for gaming, you'll find that session from the studio here in DIF HQ with Katie Whalen and Frederick Van Meteren on two other types of circular economy game. It does seem like a popular area.
Yeah, because we have to make this new economy fun.
That's exactly what they
said.
Very
important.
That's exactly what they said. They said it wasn't just this isn't just. It's a great way to break the ice. It's a great way to explore new ideas, but it is also fun as well, which is a good place to start. Yeah. Thank you both for joining in the Open Mic stage today. And one final thing for the audience: the last DIF session will take place tomorrow at 5 p.m. GMT. It's the grand finale of the Disruptive Innovation Festival. It's being broadcast from the studio here at DIF headquarters. Ellen MacArthur will be joining us to tell us what she's enjoyed at the DIF, and we've got a few surprises up our sleeve for her as well. So don't forget to tune in then. But until next time at the DIF 2016, thanks for joining, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.